Yo, what is good, my anime faithful? What is good, yo? What the heck just happened in Sword Art, man? Holy crap. Um, this was dark. This was so dark. Um, so with this week's episode, not only do we meet probably the most despicable guy. Nah, I guess he's not that despicable. He could have did way worse to the girl once he had her. So I guess he's not the worst person in Sword Art we've seen, but he's up there, probably top three. But seeing how this man who has been told about butterflies and why they were captured in such ways and having their heads removed and different things like that as a child has taken that information and pretty much gone off with it, right? Like, he has taken it and ran with that information and is choosing to still do the same things he's been doing since he was a kid, in the case of literally trying to remove the one soul, and after doing it once, actually getting to see just what the soul itself could see. So not only does he remove the soul, he then gets to see everything and experience everything that said soul had experienced. And to think that this actually worked, that this actually was a thing, I can't use this character. He's too strong for videos. Um, that it was an actual thing, like, he literally made me feel like he's not a real human in the grand scheme of how he took someone's life and then he's watched the soul drain out of their forehead and then the soul went into him. Like, it didn't feel any way, shape, or form real when that happened. And you guys can understand why, is because then he goes into a video game world where it's supposed to emulate the real world, which I guess that makes more sense why people would probably accept it as real, as him being in the real world and then going into the fake world and the fake world being treated as if it's real. Makes sense why the soul and all that stuff would do that yet again. But I'm still not really convinced, guys. um, Looking at it, I definitely understand where they're trying to come from with this whole soul thing, but it just definitely felt weird in the grand scheme of stuff. Like, to straight up take someone out, have their souls come out, and then, for instance, did Kimato and our main character kill anybody? No, they killed none of the people running up to the top to get to the Pontiff. And by doing that, they never really got to show us the experience of death. The experience of what happens to someone who actually loses their lives. Which, this is what the Dark Continent is just, or Dark Territory is throwing at us 24/7 is death, right? Like, death and the concept of having false ideals in somebody that you might not really know what they're truly feeling. And now that we honestly have two people losing their lives that were relatively the main, like, they were supposedly the main people that I thought would be the most helpful, the main people who would be the most powerful, and they're gone. They're dead and gone. So yeah, this was a very brutal episode for anybody in the Dark Territory, and I don't know what it is about shows like this that, or not shows, because Sword Art doesn't do this all the time, but I don't know what it is about characters, dark characters like this that always make me want to see their demise so much sooner. Like, I just can't stand this guy already. Like, oh, not only does he, have the ridiculous ability that he never worked for in this world, like, he just literally hopped on a save data account and took over it and acted like he's the greatest of all greats because of it. Um, He then, takes someone's life, and then while taking it, the first thing he thinks about is taking Alice's life and how amazing it will taste. Like, oh, you just got a good taste of what this stuff is, and now you're already jumping to conclusions about the person that you truly came here for. So yeah. And then another weird thing was the girl that he wind up doing this to the first time winds up being uh the girl who we see reaching out her hand for him, like when he's first going into the world. So I don't know what that like illustrates, like, oh, not only did he destroy her and kill her, but she still reaches out for him and wants him to experience more things. She's on his side. I really don't know what they're trying to convey with her showing up and actually, looking as if she's not completely destroyed or completely dead from what's happened to her with getting something shoved through her ear and dying as a kid. She then, as a spirit or as a soul, still was relatively reaching out, or that's what he thought she was doing, I guess, was reaching out to him. Maybe she was not reaching out and trying to get him to bring him to this evil place so he can feel pain. But as we also know, if they die in this world, they just will get ejected out, and they can't come back as strong people anymore, but they can just come back as grunts. Like how Kimito came back, or how he started as a kid and needed to chop trees and stuff like that. That would be this guy. And that, if he dies and then wants to come back anyway, which I think if he does die, that would be the end of this, or close to the end of the season, right? Like, I don't think we're gonna see these guys get bopped and then to be like, okay, we lost that time, but we'll get them next time, comrades. And then, wind up trying to fight again. Like, nah, they're definitely gonna get bopped. But overall, we get to see just how much the troops, like ridiculously strong the troops look when they're marching all at once towards the gate that supposedly is about to crumble. After seeing it, after Alice seeing it, she knows that she's got to tell everybody, but by the time she tells everybody, will it be too late type of deal. So definitely want to see what you guys are thinking about this said week's episode. It was pretty hype overall. I think we're in for a treat when it comes down to sword art. Anytime we see sword art, there's always usually some epic fight at the end, or epic fights throughout, and then you get to the end and it's even more epic. So just have your hopes a little bit lower when it comes down to the overall grand scheme of how stuff is being told. I mean, I have a feeling that they can convey this a little bit better, because to be fair, the whole soul thing and like him eating the souls and all that stuff just seems weird. Like, he wasn't doing that in GGO, like he just happens to have this weird infatuation with eating other people's essence and stuff like that, and I don't think anyone's ever done this before. So to just have a random character who can do it in the real world and in this world seems really off to me. So let's see how they literally built this guy up as the ultimate boss and how it all plays out, because as of right now, this man took on someone who literally broke his own system coding and did some stuff that I don't even think is supposed to be possible by the humans within this world. But with the sight of seeing his loved one completely dead and losing himself in the music, I'm sorry, losing himself and wanting revenge, we saw the flux absolutely like break in his case. Like, he broke literally his limitations on being in this world and pushed it to something ridiculous. Like, his armor even broke off. He went so far. And not only did he go so far, he went inside of this guy practically, because there was no blood, there was no signs of struggle against him and that guy besides the struggle or the signs of him destroying everything around him while he was in that typhoon of power. We then don't see him at all. So he pretty much was turned into a soul like old girl, and was absorbed because he got to see what was inside of this man, which he's not alive and he's not dead, or he's not dead and he's not alive. So that's a very weird telling thing already, and that's saying something about a human who literally is alive. But in the eyes and the feelings of this guy who went inside and saw what's inside of him, pretty much, he doesn't believe he's alive or dead. He's just some walking disaster or something. So I hope to hear from you guys on this. Sword Art has been doing very well in this second part. Absolutely craziness continuously happening. So I hope you guys are hype, and I hope you guys are ready for more Sword Art later. But I'm about to drop that Fate Grand Hero. I was gonna say Grand Zero for some reason, because Fate Zero. So yeah, I'll be dropping Grand Order very soon here, and I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I am your boy, the Anime J, and I will definitely talk to you in the next one. Peace.